Welcome to Bruce Talks, the show that's all about making crop insurance make sense. I'm Bruce Lantzky, a crop insurance agent with over 25 years of experience and a producer right here in Northeast Iowa.
Today's topic, margin coverage. Was it the right call? MCO is a added elective that we put on last fall on a lot of soybeans. And I got a couple of emails saying, hey, I elected MCO on my soybeans last fall. I was at $10.73 for discovery price. Current price is right around that $10.91 in November. Was I wrong for taking this coverage? Well, let's dive in a little deeper and we can find out. Margin coverage option, MCO. This was a new product in 2026. We could sign up for it in the fall. What it did was it allowed you to put some price protection in based on the 86 to 95% of the expected county revenue. The loss is similar to ECO. You're not going to know whether you have a loss until all the county has reported its production in the spring because it's a county-based plan. MCO's indemnity is not going to be reduced by any underlying RP policy. You can have payment factor that ranges from 0 to 100%. It's similar to ECO except there's an expense component in the calculation. That small expense component has not moved much, if at all, since the fall, and therefore I don't think the expense component is going to be anything to have a concern looking at when we compare the two, whether it was the right move or not. So let's look at a current environment. The current environment, yeah, we do have a higher spring price versus our price when it was established in September. We're looking at a $10.91 price versus $10.73. which is what we set the price for in the fall. Premiums, ECO is estimated to be about $5.27. MCO at the time was $5.58. So yeah, we're spending another 31 cents an acre to have coverage in place on that very top end since that September timeframe. Let's look at a scenario where we have a higher spring price, but then price is going to drop down to $10 this fall, which means we have a very good crop. ECO is going to pay you $20.14. MCO is only going to pay $10.22. Obviously, in this scenario, the MCO looks like it's not probably the correct position, but you need to remember the reason we put this in place was because we were wanting to have some type of price guarantee put in place. And if we were wrong and prices went higher, great. You still have the remaining 86% of your crop to insure and price at that point. Now, let's also look at why we did this as well. If you remember right, 2 weeks ago, USDA report came out. We finished at $10.56 for a price. If we would have had a $10.56 price for ECO versus MCO, we would end up with losing out on a few dollars of guarantee. $56 is what MCO would have ended up having as a guarantee and $55 as ECO. The premium, still very minimal difference, $5.58 versus $5.10. But where we look at this is if we would have started the ECO at $10.56 and continued to drop down to say $10 by fall, MCO's payout would be $10.22 versus a decent crop. ECO is going to pay very little, if anything at all. The idea being here is we're still looking to say, hey, it was a good idea to have some price protection put into place on that very top end. Now, I know it's been a while since we've had this happen, and we might even forget that it's possible, but we could have a higher fall price by the time we get to fall. I know, it's a crazy concept, but let's say that the bean market continues to work its way higher. Let's say we set a spring price of $11 and our MCO price was $10.73. So ECO price per acre is going to be about $5.80. MCO is still at that $6.24. So we're 44 cents off on what the price per acre is. MCO is going to be a little more expensive. The beginning coverage is a little bit higher on ECO versus MCO. But what happens is if we finish the year, let's say we have a short crop and we finish the year with a harvest price at $12 but only a 50 bushel county yield, we're going to be short. And since we have a higher price in the fall, guess what? Our guarantee gets reestablished on both ECO and MCO to where the MCO and ECO will actually pay out the same. So in a short crop and price increase at harvest at $12, you're going to see an indemnity on ECO and MCO of close to $60. That's due to a higher harvest price, and that might be able to happen. MCOs provide a revenue coverage based on county expected revenue since the 15th of September. If the prices end up going higher, hindsight would argue that, yeah, we should have waited for ECO and would have been a better option. But you need to remember, MCO gave you coverage at 1073, and that was only on the top 9% of your expected county revenue. If prices are higher in the spring, which we still look like, maybe we will, I don't know, we're going to start pricing here come Monday, you'll still get a higher guarantee on that RP and SCO coverages. So the remaining 86% will have a higher guarantee. If prices are higher at harvest, well then both MCO and ECO, the coverage level is going to be the same for both MCO and ECO. It'll be due to the increased guarantee on both of the products. And therefore, if there's any losses, it's going to pay out the same. So if you purchased MCO coverage for soybeans in 26, remember that even though prices might be higher this spring, you've had that coverage since September, and it allowed you some peace of mind on that top level of coverage. Let's say prices keep going higher. Don't be afraid to sell some bushels if the prices are shooting higher. It's giving you an opportunity. Don't rely on this crop insurance as a revenue piece, and that's all the revenue you're going to guarantee. If the price is higher than the revenue guarantee, let's start pricing some bushels. And finally, hey, if prices are higher at harvest, your revised guarantee is going to be calculated, and MCO and ECO, they're going to have the same coverage amount. And therefore, if there's a loss, you're going to get paid the same regardless if you had MCO or ECO. All right, so that's going to be a wrap for today's episode of Bruce Talks. We covered MCO coverage and how much the spring soybean market for ECO may provide a few dollars more of coverage, but MCO provided that peace of mind for you until we got here. If you have any questions on how MCO or ECO coverage has affected your operation, give me a call, reach out. Social media is always good too. Please be sure to join us next week. We're going to break down another timely topic that impacts your farm, from risk management strategies to government programs, to more crop insurance, so you can make a confident, informed decision for your operation. Thanks for tuning in to Bruce Talks, where we keep your farm future in focus. See you next time.